Hello, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show 10.
hmm
I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, glad to get that week over with. What about you?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're ready to start a new week and try out some new games. So
Trying out new games. Well, that's how we ended the last week, or how you ended it anyway, right?
yeah,
Trying out new stuff.
that's right. I sure did.
His Roots is the PSVR collector. He collects these PSVR games, and then once every blue moon, he decides to take a day or two and just clear that cache, that on deck queue that he has built up, and that's what you did this past week, right, Roots?
Yeah. Actually, started with one that we talked about before that you've tried, right? Which was Ace Combat 7. And
Yeah, Ace Combat 7. This is one I got from GameFly. I actually rented it, and it's one like you. I'm getting to be a collector too. I played it the one time and never got back to it, and so actually this past week just paid for it outright. $18. Paid $18 to get this game from GameFly, and I think it's a pretty good deal. Anyway, so you got into Ace Combat 7 this past weekend. What were your impressions?
well, my first impressions, and we talked about this a little bit. We had different first impressions, and I'm talking first impressions right when I got in. I looked at the plane that was in the hangar and I looking at it and I thought, wow, that looks kind of blurry and like crap. And then I told you that and you were like, no, man, it looked really good on the Pro. So right there was a little bit difference. But once I got in the plane, like right here, and got taken off, I mean, it was amazing. I did not crash in the water right off the bat. Somehow I was able to just figure out the controls. So I went on normal and was flying around, and man, I get what everybody was saying. I can't believe how good this game feels in VR, and I really want a full game, a full campaign. But even what I've got, which is what, 2 or 3 missions plus the free, I am going to buy this game as well. I don't have the $18 price because I guess you've been there with them for a long time. They're raping me for 20. So but it's well worth it, man. $20 for this. Even if I just went in and flew around and didn't even try to fight the jets, it would be fun. But my lord, those jets! I don't know if they have super technology over what I'm flying. They are so fast, and I don't know how to catch up to them. Like I'll go to shoot them, and they just all of a sudden turn right and zip the other direction. And I guess I'm not getting that guy.
Yeah, it's a counterintuitive thing with those jets because you have to kind of shoot at them from a distance. It's easier to hit them from distance than it is to hit them close up because by the time they're close to you and you shoot, they're already by you. But very gratifying feeling I found when you do let that missile loose and you're wondering if you got it, and then you just kind of see it in your periphery just as it's getting ready to pass you, it blows up. A great feeling. Did you experience that very often?
Yeah, actually, I shot a lot down. I just there was a lot of planes, man, and I don't know if I'm the only one that can do anything in this game because my people on my team weren't shooting shit, and I'm like, what is going on, man? Like they're yelling at, saying all this stuff is going on, but I'm the only one blowing stuff up. But there was one thing I was a little perturbed about, and it's not the game per se. I wanted to slam the brakes and watch them fly right by, just like Top Gun, and I didn't know how to do that so much. Or maybe that was just my skills. I know you could slow down, but you know, uh, Maverick made it look so easy in Top Gun that I just wanted to recreate the scene, and I just couldn't get it done. So I guess that's a little bit of personal sadness on my heart. So
Yeah, I didn't try to hot dog too much, but it was everything I could do to try to fight and not crash my plane into the water. Although there was a couple of times that I intentionally kamikazed into the base when the base gets infiltrated. Like it's a timed thing. After you make it to like the second or third part of the battle, like the guys start to infiltrate your base, and there was a few times that I just went nose first into the base. If you're going to kill me, I'm taking you with me.
Now, see, I got really good at getting really close to the water and banking and just doing like the hot dog and moves. But then there's those moments when you forget what you're doing or how the controls work, and then you're just slam right in the water. I did die quite a few times, but my thinking is, like you said, you never played any games like this, and I played some games growing up. I didn't remember any of it, but it must have been like riding a bike, because I literally took off and it was like I was doing the controls like I've done it for a million years, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Top Gun on NES. That's really the only flight sim I've ever played. Never played any of the legit, Microsoft Flight Simulator or any of that stuff. Not really ever been my thing, but this is fun, and it's a really cool feeling too, because the clouds in the sky look beautiful in this game, and like the condensation on the windshield, it looks very very realistic. At least on the Pro. Did that come across in the Slim?
No, everything looked good in this game except that beginning area. Just I don't know, that cockpit. It just looked really bad. But once I got out on the tarmac, it was good. I mean, it wasn't as good as in the sky. In the sky and the water and everything looked beautiful. But it did solidify in me that I need to upgrade to the Pro, even if it's only for a year till the PS5. I can't do it anymore. It's getting too much of a difference between the Rift S and the Slim, and I need to give that Slim back to my daughter anyway. So I'm gonna buy a Pro, like you were saying, Black Friday it up.
Oh, yep, yep. The leaked prices are out now for Black Friday. If you can find them. The ads are starting to leak now, and it does look like $100 off of the PlayStations. Normally they do 50 off. Looks like they're doing 100 this year because it's the final year of the life cycle. So those of you out there who don't have one yet and don't want to wait the full year to get the savior of us all PS5, uh, the deals are coming in just a few short weeks. So start collecting pop cans and saving up your pocket change, and who knows, maybe you'll be able to walk with the PlayStation here very shortly.
What do you
Um,
oh, sorry, I was just going to ask you about the PlayStation VR. Did you hear any prices on that? Any leaked prices? Because I'm kind of curious what somebody could get into, the whole package, maybe at like 600, 550.
It'd be nice because normally they discount these bundles $50 too, just like the consoles. If they're doing the consoles $100 off, hopefully they'll do the PlayStation VR. Conventional wisdom says they won't do that because they're planning to continue to support it into the next generation. But at the same time, they are losing ground to Oculus with the Oculus Quest. So if they want to be able to compete, maybe some hardware discounts are the way to do it, especially if they're not going to announce any big games. And more, it's looking like that's going to be the case, that they're done, or at least fairly close to finished with supporting this with exclusives. And I think we may get one or two more, before PS5, but that's a severe reduction from what we were getting, what we had been used to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the PlayStation 5 coming out in just a year's time. I know that seems like a long time, but it's going to be here before we know it. Do you think that maybe we could see this entire game ported into VR? I mean, they say that they don't have the power to pull something like that off right now. But originally, before this game was released, the developers were promising us a lot more, and then as time went on, the amount of content that they were promising became less and less and less until finally we just ended up getting 3 missions. Do you think that they could, once they have the PlayStation 5 to support this game, do you think that they might possibly give us the entire game in VR, or even add some DLC and give us a few more missions.
I hope so. I think they should. I mean, if that's the real reason that there wasn't enough power, I mean, I can't express how good this was. Like anybody that loves these type of games, you have to try this. Especially do it through GameFly, man. You don't want to spend $60. I think you said it's even 40 now, right? To drop 20
I think
bucks.
it's 40.
Yeah,
I think it's 40 now.
yeah, so even if you played flat game a little bit, even if you didn't play the flat game, $20 is definitely worth 3 missions in the free flight mode. Or just rent it. It's definitely worth playing. I enjoyed it, and I want to go back into it and finish the missions, although it's hard. It is no joke. And you have to play the missions in VR on expert, it says in the beginning, which is cool. Thank you. I guess
you're the expert, right? And that's the reason why your partners don't do anything. They just rely on you.
Yeah.
So even though you're the rookie, and they say that in the beginning, you're the rookie. Apparently, you're just gifted or something because you're the only one that can manage to blow any of these guys out of the sky.
Yeah, they just don't do anything. It's so frustrating because all of those green guy things are not your allies. Those are all enemies. And then there's like 4 or 5 of you, and they're not doing shit. Do something. So
maybe they're collaborators.
Yeah, maybe they're all one team and we're all against everyone's against me.
They're all whispering to one another, China number one, China number one.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and move on from that one. Ace Combat 7, I had a lot of fun with it in my limited time with it, but it suffered the fate that many other games suffer in my library, and that is being relegated once again to the backlog that stacks to the ceiling. But I thought enough about it to pay for it. I didn't send it back. So that should tell you something about how I feel about this game.
Yeah, and I'm ready to keep it myself, and I just played it. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
It is. It's high quality. Surprising what they can pull off with the PlayStation VR. Never ceases to amaze me. Like you said, every now and then something will stick out, like you said the plane was blurry for you. But for every moment that you have like that in PlayStation VR, you have 10 other ones where you're just amazed that they can even do this on a console,
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on to another PlayStation VR game, one that I have a lot more time in, and one that, I said Ace Combat, I had a lot of fun with and I enjoyed. I absolutely loved the Persistence. This game from Fire Sprite Games, it's been out for a little over a year now. This game is absolutely phenomenal, in my opinion. It's AAA quality, production values. It plays with a gamepad, but really doesn't feel like a gamepad game, if that makes any sense. It feels like you have hand presence, even though you're using a gamepad. Creepy as all hell, but very, very difficult and frustrating. And the reason why is the mechanic is set up so that in order to advance, you have to die. And it's a weird thing because when you die, you lose your level progress, but your character, it's the only way you can progress your character. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Ruuts, how long did it take you before you wanted to pull your hair out?
What hair I have left? It was not too long. What's funny is I didn't have to try to die in this game, and maybe it's because I'm new at it. I died quite a bit. Those guys are creepy, like you said. They're very reactive. They're very fast, and there's not messing around. I really enjoyed this game. Now, one thing I didn't like about this, and this is just a pet peeve, I didn't like the spot on that you have to open things being connected to your head. So I'm like having
Talking about the
green
the
dots
space
and stuff. Yeah, I'm having to line up the stuff, and sometimes you're like, I just let me just reach out and touch it, But that's my only gripe in this game. It's very frustrating. I can see why, Mamefan was saying that this game frustrated him, and he didn't finish it, and I can see why, because it's frustrating. It's got a lot of like you said, dying and coming back, and you lose your weapons. Whatever you've crafted, you lose it. So you're pretty much left with whatever credits, or I guess they're stem cells, right? And there's stem cells, and then there's something else you collect. Now, what's kind of cool is the different guns you got. There was one I had, I guess you said it's basic. You kind of sneak up behind somebody, and they'll get that green dot on their head. And this is the coolest shit in the game. And I hit my button, and it zaps out something, and it snatches like a part of their DNA. But to me, it looks like it's snatching their brain. And it's just so cool, and it gives you a lot of stem cells, and that's really good for buying stuff. So all around a thumbs up for Ruuts in that respect. But yeah, this is definitely oh, there, you're doing it right there. um this is definitely a fun game.
Yeah, I like how they blend the action FPS with stealth here. It's a good balance, and on top of all of that, exploration from the very first moment to the last. There are so many little nooks and crannies and crevices that you can find items in this game, and the levels are all completely procedural. Like, it's every time you die, the map changes. The main points remain the same. I mean, you still have to accomplish X, Y, and Z in certain rooms, but the location of those rooms changes every time. So you're constantly having to watch your map and make your way through a different way than you did the last time. And all the meantime, quietly, because if you make a noise, that's it for you. You could be dead. And it doesn't matter if it's taken you an hour and you almost made it to the last room in the level. If you die, that's it, brother. You start over with a brand new map, and you have to do it all over again, which is frustrating to me, but something that I ended up growing to appreciate at the same time, because the game stays fresh.
It's always
It's
different.
never right, exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is as you're going along, you're upgrading your not only your weapons, or getting different types of weapons, but you upgrade your health, your they call it was it dark matter, which is, I guess, how much you can teleport. And then something else,
Right.
like just 3 or 4 different things, and that's where I would imagine the real leveling comes. Like, once you get those stats really high, your health is high, you're gonna be able to sneak. I guess sneaking is one of them, being silent and so forth. But the problem is, after I upgraded 1 or 2 of them, it was like 5,000 credits, or stem cells or whatever, and that's a shitload, man. Like, so it's gonna be a grind, and that's why I was saying I completely understand why Main said fuck this, because he just doesn't want to be in the PlayStation VR that long, is my thought. But it's just definitely it's definitely a fun but frustrating mechanic.
Well, I can say that as you level up your character and the requirements become more stringent, uh, really what it's wanting you to do is to go deeper into the game. As you get into the later levels, it becomes easier to get those high numbers
Mm.
that you need to level up. That's just their way of controlling the progression.
I guess that makes
Uh,
sense. Did you notice there was
yeah.
bombs and stuff? And it's like
Yeah.
I go to hit one of those green things, and it like has a time bomb, and I run away, and I think, okay, cool, that's not that bad. And then the next one I find, it blows up in my face. Like, what the fuck, man? Kind of.
Well, it's cool because what it is these are electrical components, and the ship is very badly damaged. So this stuff is malfunctioning, and you're trying to use it, and it just blows up in your face. There's panels on the floor like that, and they use this damage to the ship, uh, this this aspect of the story to explain why the map changes every time you die. It's like when you die, you don't really die. Your story goes on. You know, in a normal game, you die and you kind of just continue and you kind of go back in time like you never died. That's how a normal game operates. The way this one operates is your conscious lives on. So when you die, it's just a clone body that's dying, and they just take your consciousness out of that clone body, put it in another one, and and they give you a legitimate reason for why the map is changing. It's some kind of a, a side effect from where you're at in space. Uh, affecting time space. And I just thought it was so cool, the concept of, I've never played a roguelike that was story driven that actually gave you a reason for it being roguelike.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I guess I think I don't know if From Other Suns gives you a reason. I think, but it's a lot very similar type of thing. But yeah, I kind of like the story as well. Just the fact that at the beginning you see your dead body, or at least you think it's your dead body, and she's like, no, 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 don't worry about it. That's the old you. You're the new you, or however they get explained it. It's a really good story. Like you said, it plays along with everything you're going through.
Yeah, and something else I thought was really, really cool about this game, you know, as long as you've made it fairly far into the first level, the first deck, uh, you pretty much have access to see all of the weapons, all of the items, even if you don't craft them. You can see what they are and what they do. And there is a wide selection of weapons and items available here with very unique abilities. Did you explore any of that stuff? And were you as impressed as I was at just how creative they got with some of these items?
I didn't get any weapons, man. I got melee, and I got that. I did get the one that snatched people's brains, and then I got the other weapon that makes your enemies your friend, and then they fight with you or whatever. And that was kind of cool. Puts a big heart over their head. And then I got chased by a guy with a gun, and those guys are really, like I said, so aggressive, man. Like all of a sudden you think you're stealth, and then they're yelling and shooting, and you're dead, and it sucks.
Oh, dude, those guys. I mean, as terrible as they are, wait till you get a little bit deeper and you start to see some of the more advanced enemies in this game. They have seemingly supernatural abilities, some of them, and they're really cool looking too. It's not just, everything in the first level's kind of got this sameness to it. It's kind of bland. Some of the later enemies are quite colorful and different looking, and just really, really cool. Um, the As far as the weapons go, I can tell you that there's a wide variety of stuff. You should play with it because some of that stuff's not even really that expensive to try out. Like there's one that lets you. It's just like an escape item. So like if you're getting lit up or ambushed by a bunch of guys, you can use this item and it'll put you safely into another room. Stuff like that. Just different things that you can bank, you can pocket, but you always kind of have to be careful with how much you spend on crafting these things because all you have to do is get killed one time and you lose all of it and you have to start all over again.
Man, you're kicking some ass in this level, dude.
Is this me?
Yeah, dude, this is your video, dude. And I'm like, man, you're just like going through and
wow. Yeah, this game it's really cool too because like this Sentinel 9mm, you can get that fairly frequently. But a couple of these other firearms in this video, if you like get killed quickly, maybe this was all in my head, but it seemed like to me if I got killed 2 or 3 times fast in a row, that I would have a playthrough that they would just give me the weapons. Like I'd find them laying around, like some of the more advanced stuff. It's like they were handicapping the game for me. And did you ever notice anything like that?
No, I didn't find any weapons, but like I was telling you, I killed the guys with the weapons, and you told me, oh well, you can pick those weapons up, and I didn't know that. So I think I missed out on a lot of what was going on, because it's really creepy, and these guys, especially after you've died several times, every time you come into a level, every room, it's like, where are these fuckers at? Because they're so fast and they hear you so quickly and so easily that I got really paranoid. It did a really good job of doing exactly what it's trying to do, which was make me paranoid and try to be quiet. You
Well,
know.
let me ask you this: you have an echolocator like a radar, and I pretty much lived with that thing on, just constantly pinging it so I can see where the enemies are at. Did you use that very much?
Some I didn't know about it till like near the end, but
Yeah, that thing is crucial, and it works very well. Like you can like the walls don't tend to affect it, so you can stand in the next room and ping that radar and see the guys in the next room. So you know what you have to do. I mean, it won't go all the way to the other side of the room, but you can see if you're able to sneak your way through a door or if you have to find another entrance. There's all kinds of like duct work and things that you can kneel down and crawl through to access a room. Like if you don't want to go through the front door, there are other ways to get in, and the maps always show you this stuff if you know what to look for.
well, I found out the hard way that those crawl spaces, they're not gonna you're not gonna lose the dude in there. He's gonna follow you in there and he's gonna kill you anyway. So don't run in the hole and think you're gonna live, because it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that some of those guys will. They'll follow you in there, but uh, it's also a good way to sneak up on a few of them because they tend to stand around the entrances. So if you're very quiet, you can do this right here and get yourself some extra sim cells.
Yeah, I agree. This is probably one of the best. I was wondering why he didn't die. One of the best stealth games that I've played in a long time. And we've played some pretty good ones, you know. But this is definitely head and shoulders above Rogan. Oh wait, Rogan wasn't one of the good ones. It's definitely head and shoulders above Intruders and some of the other ones that we played. So
Yeah, for sure. And as nice as this looks on PlayStation 4, how badass would it be if this were to come to the Epic Games Store?
I would love it, dude. I was thinking, man, if I would deal with the frustrations. This game is, I mean, I shouldn't even say that because it was really good on the PlayStation VR as well. But I would love to see it in super sampling goodness. But this is the gameplay, everything about this game, like you said, it's very good, and it's creepy as hell. So this would be a good game for anybody that's got a PlayStation VR and wants to play a Halloween game or creepy game.
Yeah, and for those of you out there who don't have your PSVR yet, I'm pretty sure they updated this so that you can play it flat. Although I would never recommend anyone play a VR game flat because you're just going to spoil it for yourself when you eventually one day undoubtedly will have a VR headset. It's going to happen. Even you who are saying, nope, not me. Yep, you too. You're going to have one too. And you play this game flat, you're going to be sorry because it's so awesome to actually play it from the inside.
Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you this, Reese. If let's say this game were to come to the Epic Games Store tomorrow, do you think it would be well received, or do you think people would just complain about it being a gamepad game?
No, I think people would love it. I think people would jump all over it. And I know I'd pick it up today if it was on there, and I'd play until I won. I wouldn't even eat. No, I'm just kidding.
The
Um,
the gamepad for this game, it feels better than like a normal gamepad game, or at least I felt like it did. Like it feels like the gamepad just works for this game for some reason. Did you have that same feeling?
I think it works really good for a lot of like stealth games. Everything about it, like I don't, I don't even know. Like I love having hand presence, but it's games like this that remind me that I don't need it. You know, it's all about the immersion. It's all about the the creepiness of the creatures and the cool guns and shooting, and you know, and everything's aiming. You're still aiming with your guns, you know, Would it be maybe a better experience with hand presence? Yeah, sure, but it. I don't think it takes anything away from it. And now this game is on sale right now, right? Or is it still not on sale?
It may be actually. I'm not quite sure. I know that there is a Halloween PSN sale going on right now, and it would make all the sense in the world for that to be on sale.
Yeah, I thought it was. I know I got it on sale. That was one of the reasons why.
Well, I imagine it probably still is then. If you picked it up on sale, then it probably still is on sale.
Yeah, I think it was on sale for the Halloween sale.
Do you remember at all what you paid
Yeah,
for it?
it's on sale right now for $15.99. Originally $30.
Beautiful, man. It's a great game. It's definitely worth that. It's another one of these that I rented from GameFly and just ended up keeping it because it was so good. And uh, you know, like I said, Ace Combat was good. This game is absolutely great, and it's one that I don't uh, play as often as I should, just because I know once I start on it that I'm not going to be able to put it down. It's a grinder. It's one of those games where you get killed and you want to quit, but you want to keep going at the same time because as soon as you die, as upset as you are, 5 seconds later you start to realize that you get to upgrade your character now. So you start choosing upgrades and what you want to do, and then by the time you get done doing that, you're ready to go again. And and it's a vicious cycle. And just watching this right here makes me want to go play it right now. So
Yeah, me
we
too.
probably we probably should move on to another topic here.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our topic of the week. So, what are we going to talk about this week? We're going to kind of do we're going to go back to a favorite topic that we visit quite often on the Monday show, but we're going to kind of put a Halloween twist on it. So, the topic we're talking about this week, as we have a few times before, is hidden gems, games that aren't as recognized as we feel like they should be. Some people see these games and say, that's not a hidden gem. But for every person who says that, there's always another one saying, you know what, I never really thought about that game or knew about that game. Thanks, guys, for mentioning it. So it's really a personal thing, individual to individual, what their definition of hidden gems are. But that's what we're going to do. Ruuts and I both have picked two hidden gems, and the twist is they're all horror games. We wanted to do something spooky, something evil, something to commemorate the month of October. So we're doing Halloween hidden gems. Ruuts, what is your first Halloween hidden gem?
My first Halloween hidden gem is Oregon Quarter. And I chose this one because there's a lot of people in the Discord talking about it. And I played it, I think it's 3-4 months ago, off of, I think it was Mamefan's account. And it's creepy as hell. I don't know if you've checked it out or not, but it's definitely a game that I feel like doesn't get talked about much at all, really.
Yeah, this is one of those games. No, I haven't played it, but people have recommended it to me more than a few times based on mostly atmosphere. They say this game just has this weird creepiness to it that just being in there gives you this feeling of uneasiness. And you're right. I'm constantly looking for horror games, new horror experiences to play. And this one just doesn't cross my mind very often. So you're right. This one definitely goes overlooked quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a shame because you need to check out Oregon Quarter for sure.
For sure. I know somebody that'll check out your organ for a quarter.
Yeah, that's it. Really? Damn, that's cheap.
You know who else will do that?
My mom!
There you go. All right, so moving on. My first game. Well, let's see here. Well, my first game is going to be is a game that a lot of people know, but a lot of people don't really think about it, especially at this time of year. and I think they should. And that game is A Chair in a Room, Greenwater. Now it's debatable. Is this a horror game? Is it a psychological thriller? Is it an evil escape the room? Well, the answer to that question is yes. It's
Hmm.
all of those things. It shows um, it shows properties of each of those genres. It comes from the good friends over at Wolf and Wood, the same people who brought us The Exorcist Legion VR. So this was their earlier VR game. They did this before Exorcist Legion VR, and you can tell that in some ways, but in other ways, I mean, it has that look, that same look and feel that Exorcist has to it, even though the subject matter isn't as religious as The Exorcist is. It's every bit as creepy, and it's kind of hard to explain why without giving away too many spoilers. But if you like a dark, psychological, story-driven horror game, I think you could certainly do a lot worse than A Chair in a Room, Greenwater.
Yeah, I really never really. I mean, I'd heard of it, but not much about it. So, and I haven't tried it either. So, for
Yeah,
myself.
definitely one of those games that I like. That everything has meaning. Like the pictures on the wall here even have meaning. Like the things that you see. Some of them are disturbing, and some of them not so much at all. Um, but everything has some kind of meaning to it. Some of it will help you understand the story a little bit better. Some of it will actually help you solve puzzles. And at its heart, this game is a puzzle game. But it's not like a straight brain bending puzzle. It's more of a environmental, object based puzzle game. But very dark, very scary at times, and a hidden gem in my opinion. So Roots, what is your second Halloween hidden gem?
My second hidden gem is gonna piss people off because they're gonna say it's not a hidden gem, it's not a VR game, it's a mod. Root says he doesn't give a fuck. It's Alien Isolation. Deal with it. It is creepy as fuck. It's a horror game and perfect for Halloween. And you tell me what VR mod feels better than this mod. You could have put me in this thing with and said it was a legit VR game with a controller, and it feels better than a lot of VR games. So it is definitely worth the price of admission. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, Roots, what the hell's wrong with me? I haven't played this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I
I
think
love Aliens. I love the Aliens movies. I love the original Alien movie. Um, I love horror games. I love VR, but I haven't played this mod. I haven't played the Doom 3 BFG mod either. What's my effing problem, Roots?
I don't know. This is a really good one too, and it's very creepy. And I would love to watch you stream it. I think this would be a perfect streaming thing, and Roots would be there for front row.
Well, I need to do that. I promised my subs some streams, some live streams when I hit 100 subs, and that's been a few months ago now. I never got around to it because of upheaval and turmoil on the Virtual Strangers channel. I kind of sidetracked me. As soon as we got to 100 subs, we faced some major changes
Mhm.
here at Virtual Strangers. So I kind of got sidetracked from it, but now things have stabilized. So no excuses anymore, huh? I guess I need to get on that.
Yeah, and like this would be a perfect game that the content it would something you would really enjoy. People would enjoy watching you play, and I think it'd be good.
I agree. Well, I think I need to play it regardless because, again, I'm constantly looking for stuff to get my pulse up, and I think this one might do it. It seems that it might have that kind of quiet tension build that I like in a game. I'm not about the all about the cheap jump scares, and I was just saying this to Jason Westmus in the comment section of our last video. Not so much about the cheesy, cheap jump scares. I like for a game to slowly build the tension with atmosphere and sound design and then, break that tension with pursuit and me being pursued by some kind of a evil thing that makes me panic and try to run away from my life. And I feel like Alien Isolation is probably that type of a game. Am I right? Am I
It
pretty
is.
close?
Yeah, it is. It's and I've only made it I think a couple hours in, and it gets really I mean, we're talking about ultimate stealth games. I mean, this could be put up right up there, and the fact that they did such a good job of putting this in VR with this mod, and then you just literally drag that one file over and it's fixed. It makes you wonder why we don't have every game in VR at some point. It's just yeah.
I think it's a conspiracy to keep VR out of the hands of the American public. I think that the Chinese know that how awesome VR is, so they're trying to hog all the VR for themselves.
Yeah, they're trying to keep it. They can't keep it. We're taking it.
They can't. We're going to start the Third World War just to take over Pimax and HTC. Oh, wait a minute. No, we're not ever going to do that.
No, I don't want those.
Never mind. We're Oculus homers. USA. Okay, that's enough political undertones. We'll move on to my second Halloween hidden gem, and I think like you, it's going to piss some people off because people have somehow convinced themselves that this game sucks, and it's not the best game in the world. I'll give you that. But it doesn't suck. It's a polished, quality title that was just another of a long list of victims of expectations, and that game is The Impatient. This is a PSVR exclusive. It was brought to us from Supermassive Games, the same team that brought us Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. And basically, people heard that this was going to be a story-driven game, that it was coming from the Until Dawn developers, and that it was going to cost $40. And they took from those three things and put it in their head that they're getting Until Dawn VR. And when that turned out to not be what this is, people flipped their lid. Now, legitimately, this was overpriced. I think it launched for like 40 or $50, something just stupid high. And I completely agree that if I had bought this game for that, pre-ordered it, man, I would have been so angry with it. But I didn't do that. I rented it. And coming into it with a clear mind and looking at it fairly, this was, it was fun. It was, it's narrative driven. It's heavily narrative driven. That's the whole hook of the game, is that your decisions in conversations, your choices have effect on the story. And the whole gimmick here is that you can play this game 2, 3, 4 times and experience a different story each time you play. I played it twice, and the story was somewhat different each time. They were very similar, but they were somewhat different. But I enjoyed it both times that I played it, and I still think that this game still suffers from those initial reviews. I call it the Evasion effect because the exact same thing happened to Evasion, and I think more people should give this a shot. They should tune out those early reviews. And the price has been cut now, and you can catch this thing on sale for $10 or $15, and I think it's every bit worth that, and 100% fits the definition of a Halloween hidden gem.
Well, that's the good thing about it being a hidden gem, right? Is nobody knows that the reviews were bad, that back in the day, that the price was too high, except for we're telling them now. But then come in with a fresh attitude, like you said, $10, $15. I want to check it out. It actually sounds intriguing. Just the fact that, my conversation decisions make a difference. I can shape the conversation. I really like that about games like Groundhog Day or even upcoming Saints and Sinners.
Yeah, to be clear, this game is very story driven. It's very slow paced too. If you don't like having a story unfold in front of you, that's mainly what's going on here. It's kind of like an interactive movie. There are a couple of spots you can die in it, but other than that, I would probably liken it more like the Invisible Hours, more of just one of these uh, uh, interactive movies. But you can see here from your choices, you have different, completely different ways you can approach each conversation. And you can tell when you make a pivotal decision because they call it the butterfly effect. Uh, you choose whatever it is, and you'll see butterflies fly out across the screen. So you know that you've just impacted the story in a profound way. But what I really enjoyed about this game more than anything, the dream sequences or nightmare sequences, I should say, because there's two or three, at least two or three different times that that you go to sleep, and before you awaken, you have a nightmare. That's a playable nightmare. So it's awesome.
Yeah, sounds pretty fun. So it's pretty creepy, huh? Or has some horror to it?
Oh, definitely creepy. Definitely.
Because that
This
old
is
man doesn't look creepy so far, but I guess this is only 2 minutes that I've watched so far, right?
no. This is not a psychological thriller. This is a horror game. I don't want to give away too much about the story, so I'm intentionally leaving things out. But this is a horror game for sure, 100% a horror game. So for those of you who like story-driven horror experiences, 100% recommend this one, and don't listen to the people who were mad at it initially because it's not Until Dawn. It's not Until Dawn, and don't think that it is for a moment. But what it is really cool, and I'm glad that I played it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to check this out. You
Yeah,
convinced
you
me.
should. If you're going to if you're going to buy Ace Combat, throw this thing to number one in your queue. You probably don't even have to put it number one because nobody's written it because of what I said before. People just don't think that it's any good. You can play through it in 2 to 3 hours. So yeah, I absolutely recommend that you do just that.
Nice. I think I will.
All right, so I guess that's going to wrap up our Monday show number 10. What did you think? What are your Halloween hidden gems? I love these evil games, so let me know. And I assure you, if there are good horror games out there that I haven't tried yet, I will get to them. Be sure to leave those in the comments down below. And if you've liked this video, click the thumbs up. And for those of you new to the channel, subscribe, and don't forget to click that bell to keep up with all of our content here on the Virtual Strangers channel. With that said, friends, I'd like to thank you for watching, and for Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Bye-bye.
Stay easy.